Hello everybody, this is me, Amin.
And this is Alex.
And welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About. And in this episode, we're going to come back to 5G. It's been over 2 years and 3 governments later, we still have not made any progress in the development and deployment of 5G in the country. In fact, I think we've been going backwards, to be honest. Okay. For the sake of argument, we've stagnated. To say that we've been going backwards, some people might argue, hey, but we have a wider network now. Mm-hmm. We have more 5G networks in more areas now. Mm-hmm. But it's not usable, right? So the topic of today's episode is, okay, Alex is here, right? Obviously, he's my partner in this show. And I think there is nobody else that's better to talk about telcos in the country than Alex. He's been covering telco news and telco developments since the start of Search in Chao, and he's been following what's been going on very closely. He has really tremendous close and high up sources that's on tap for him to answer questions and stuff like that. So he is in the know lah. And the reason why we want to talk about 5G right now is a lot of things that have been going on in 5G for the past, I think, couple of months have been going crazy. So we started out with this craziness of the single wholesale network, right? That's number one crazy. And then it's been going backwards and forwards, and then telcos are being quiet. Politicians are saying so many things. We have the communication minister and the finance minister saying so many confusing things. So it has come to this point where we feel kind of compelled, or I think it's our duty to from what we know, set the record straight without any biasness or without any BS in terms of what's going on currently in the telco space with regards to 5G. So a lot of people, I think not a lot of people, I don't want to blame the public, but I think the politicians are trying to shape the public's perception of what's going on with 5G in the country. Number one. Number two, I think it's not fair that the telcos are not allowed to say anything. I mean, the politicians are not saying, telcos shouldn't say anything, but because of the regulations and because of telco being such a regulated industry, we see it in the news, right? Even our finance minister Tengku Zafar has said, if telcos don't sign by 31st August, they're going to lose out on 5G. I mean, that's terrible, but we're going to talk about that a little later. So the reason why we're talking about today is not to say whether 5G is going to be a success or not. That's not the point. The point is what is going on and what is the truth and what is not. So I'm going to pass this to Alex. Alex, what has been going on since the last time we talked about 5G?
Well, there's a lot of things that's been going on. So I think previously we talked about the government throwing the ultimatum saying that, the telcos are given a deadline to meet. That's 30th of June. You must take up the offer. So backtrack a bit. Previously, there was a bit of back and forth because telcos refused to accept the single wholesale network.
Yes.
So in fact, they proposed, why not have dual wholesale network? Because there is concern that a single wholesale network is like a single point of failure. It will actually prevent innovation because all the while, right, Malaysia has a very vibrant telco scene. There's a lot of competition. So you can see Maxis, Celcom, Digi, U Mobile, they're all been racing up to build the network, expand coverage area, and we see progress in that. Whoever increase more, then the public has more options out there. And
the better service wins.
Yeah, better service wins. So you can compete in terms of the network and compete in terms of the service.
Yep.
And as we all know, right, competition, is better for everyone.
Yep.
But when it comes to single wholesale network, the whole thing was changed because it raised a question mark. First of all, why did we derive, or how do you end up here? Why do we end up going for a single wholesale network?
Why do we need a single wholesale network?
Yeah, and most importantly, it's a government-run single wholesale network. Yep. Because you look at industry, right, most of the utilities around the world, including Malaysia, remember last time when public utility like telephones is Jabatan Telekom, it's a government department.
Yes.
Then it becomes a private entity. Now it becomes a giant corporate. So Telekom Malaysia is a huge corporate.
Yeah, privatization was a huge move to save costs, to improve services, and to make things better in general.
Yeah, and now it becomes a huge corporate, and we can unlock the value, which the government actually benefits because
they are the biggest investors, shareholders.
Yeah, exactly. And now going back to a state-run infrastructure, a telecommunication infrastructure company, it's like we're regressing. Because like we mentioned in previous episode, right, there's no good track record of having a state-run single wholesale network.
Yes, the case studies have shown in different countries, that has tried single wholesale network, all of them have failed. All of them, 100% failure rate.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, for the nationwide, because
Yes.
there are some instances of a single wholesale network works in a very specific model, like for example, rural projects that
Yep.
will work because it makes more sense for government to step in and to incentivize and to have this shared network. But for the whole nationwide scale, it doesn't work. The most recent one was in Mexico, so it was declared bankrupt, and the government keep postponing
Pumping money.
postponing their deliverable deadlines. And so that's one thing. And also we got a lot of analysis even from GSMA saying that Malaysia has such a vibrant competitive telco market.
Yep.
And then this thing is a huge concern.
Yep.
So going back to Malaysia at the present day, so
that's a good recap. Now the stalemate was, just to remind our listeners and viewers here, right? So the stalemate was telcos are negotiating with the government. We don't want to sign. These are our concerns, and this is our request. So if you want us to sign, let's do it like this.
Yes.
And then at that point in time, the government said, okay, we're gonna allow for the telcos to take a stake in the single wholesale network, so that their benefits are taken care of. But the problem with that is the process and what's been done internally has been so opaque. Right? So with DNB, when telcos are requesting for, okay, give us information, be transparent on the terms and conditions that you've already made, on your loans and whatever. No, you don't have that. You either sign or you don't.
Yeah, that's right. And then also, like, for example, when they release the reference access offer, so the reference access offer, for those who don't know, is basically a document that outlines everything: the pricing, the deliverables, the SLA, and the additional terms and conditions. So that was released sometime in March, end of March. And then the telcos have already said, hey, the concerns they raised earlier were not addressed, because there's a lot of concerns that they raised about the offer. And that's the reason why they didn't sign the reference access offer.
What were give us some of the more important concerns that the telcos raised?
Well, one of it would be the costing. It's like 30,000 ringgit per gigabits per second per month, and that's locked for 10 years. So that's like illogical. I mean, who want to sign wholesale pricing that's locked to 10 years? And as we know, in Malaysia and anywhere in the world, data consumption increases on an annually basis, more substantially in Malaysia. And traditionally, cost for data goes down. Like we mentioned before, like the cost of 4G data to consumers back then, when it was first launched, it was like 30 ringgit per gigabyte. These days you can get 1 gigabyte for 1 ringgit or less.
Yep.
It's much cheaper. So it should be going down. But the wholesale pricing doesn't reflect that. It's fixed for 10 years.
Yes.
And already it's very expensive. And other concerns involve transparency as well, because it's like when they offer this offer, right? There's concern that the single wholesale network could potentially give discounts or cheaper rate to different telcos. So that's another huge concern.
Preferential rates without letting the other telcos know, right?
Yeah.
So,
and also there's another concern is whether DNB, because they own the 5G network, can they compete with them on the retail level in sense of offering bespoke or enterprise solutions directly to the customers?
so there is no mention in the terms and conditions that DNB themselves cannot also be an operator.
Something like that.
Yes.
That's not addressed, because they said, oh, we're not going to compete. We're going to be an infrastructure company. We won't compete. But it looks like they have the potential capability of offering services directly to consumers, because they have 5G core networks and all that.
Yeah, because they don't say it in writing.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, we're not going to do that. But it's not in writing. There's no terms and conditions for that.
It's not clear. And I think that a lot of them have raised concern that, the RRO is not really complete. It raises more questions than answers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now moving into the present time, this past couple of weeks, I don't know whether this came from Mancom or this came from the media misreporting the Mancom. Because, again, I'm not blaming the media or whatever. And again, the people who are reporting, they might not know the full gist of what's going on or the full, details of what's going on. So they'll just take whatever statement the Mancom says. And this might not be true. So there's no fact checking or just... I'm not blaming them. So the point of contention or the trigger here was when it was reported that
All telcos are on board.
Telcos are on board, right?
Yeah.
So who said that?
Yeah, so so just reminder again, that time Tengku Zafrul, the Minister of Finance, he said that all telcos must sort out this whole debacle by 30th of June. You sort out with DNB, make sure everything is signed, or else you'll be left out from the
30th
5G.
of July. June.
June.
Okay.
Yeah. If you not sign, we're going to open up to foreign telcos. That's what he said. So on the dot, on the 30th of June, also constantly there was like a briefing to UMNO Youth, because UMNO Youth, they raised concerns about the single wholesale network. They claimed that, this could be like a potential 1 dB. So on that day, they had like a briefing, which we tried to go, but we couldn't get in because I think they got rescheduled. Anwar Musa told reporters that, it has been settled already. All the telcos are on board, and then they're going to make like a final, everything to be concluded by the 8th of July. He said that. There's a video recording on that. He said everything will be concluded by 8th of July.
So there was no misreporting. It was coming from his mouth, and there's video evidence, right?
He said they're all on board, it's been sorted out already. So it's happy. Everything is going according to plan, he said. Yeah, everything will be concluded by 8th of June. 8th of July, sorry.
Okay, so we're going to play that video.
That everything is in according to plan. Negotiation took place, and they have reached to certain understanding.
Okay, that's
and everything will be concluded by next week, by the 8th of July.
Which means all these big four, these four telco providers. How many telcos?
Well, I think everybody will be on board.
Now, did the telcos say anything after that? Because I'm sure you got a lot of messages coming into your phone saying that, hey, this is not true, what's going on, or you've been asking that question whether it's true or not.
Yeah,
and all of them said no, right?
And some of them said no. For me, it's like, I don't want to say it. The thing is, it's a bit weird because like all the problems that they raised, right, were not answered. How could they suddenly agree?
Yes.
Yeah. So I go and find out. I actually checked with someone with DNB. So there are two parts of this story. So first is the equity stake, taking a share in DNB. That's one. And the other is getting actual access, means subscribing to the service to get 5G. So for the stake, right, what they signed is a non-binding term sheet.
A term sheet is more like a framework of like, okay, this is what we're going to put in the agreement. Everybody agree so that there are minimal changes in the agreement. And it's not to say that you cannot change the agreement as well. So it's basically a draft.
Yeah. It's like a start.
Yes.
It's a first step.
Yes.
That's it. So no way near being completed.
Yes.
And the second part about access, right? So a lot of media reported, they signed the access agreement.
Yep.
When they say sign access agreement, right, it gives impression that they signed the reference access offer.
Yep.
The document that I mentioned, they mentioned price and all that. But reality is no one has signed the reference access offer. All they did was sign the RF. It's like an access request application form. It's like a registration form. Seriously, it's like an application form. It's like, here's a name, address, company number, blah, blah, blah. It's like a 2-page sheet. That's all.
So
and
it's not true.
It's not true. It's one step closer. In fact, it's not one step closer. It's just the first step to getting access.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that they are nowhere near concluding the agreement.
It's not progress. It's just requisite. Like if you want to sign up for something, you have to fill up a form.
Yeah, it's like signing up for a new username and password.
Yeah.
That's about it, actually.
Yeah.
And then the media went to friends. They said, they're on board and all that. And even Ministry of Minister of Communication, Mancom said, they're going to complete their due diligence in 2 months, and the rakyat can enjoy mass 5G services by September.
Months. Okay, so this was in July.
30th of June. He said that. And we all think like, due diligence in 2 months, how is that even possible? If you look at like Celcom and DG merger, right, it's more than a year.
A year plus, yes.
Yeah, it's not concluded yet because there's a lot of work involved. And if you want a telco, especially public listed telco, to take a stake, that's a long process as well.
Yep.
And okay, here's the thing. When Celcom DG announced they want to merge, right, the first thing they did was to issue a statement. Yes, we are going to merge.
Yes.
This is what we're going to do. We're going to assure that, customers going to be fine. And, you can look forward to better services. And despite all these announcements from the ministers, right, none of the public listed telcos have issued a statement.
Okay. And that's a point that I wanted to talk about as well, right? So my other issue is that it's kind of lopsided, this public space where this conversation is happening.
Yep.
Because it's one-sided, because the ministers are talking and the telcos are not talking.
Yes.
The telcos are not talking because it's not because they don't have anything to say. I think they have a lot to say and they want to clear a lot of things. But they can't.
Yep.
Because
I feel their hands are tied.
Their hands are tied, number one. And I think for me, right, they want to move this ahead.
Yep.
They want 5G to happen. All these are public listed companies. All these have investors domestically and also internationally. And the investors are saying, hey, you know what? I want to make
5G happen.
5G happen because this is going to be beneficial for my returns on investment.
Yep.
Make it happen. But at the same time, they are also saying, look, we can't make it happen if we cannot agree to the terms and conditions.
Yes.
What is being painted in the public by the politicians, especially Mencom and the finance minister, is, and I'm not defending the telcos here. I think the telcos, they're not the best public, what's the word I'm looking for? Corporate citizens in the country, but they're not evil either. I think they genuinely have to balance the interests of customers, regulators, shareholders, and themselves as a business to move things forward.
Yep. And also, as a matter of fact, I think we've mentioned before that the public digital telcos, they lose a lot of money in terms of value because of this uncertainty. And don't forget that most of our government funds, like PNB, the Khazanah, EPF, and all that, they have also invested interest in the telcos.
Yes.
So they need to get their shareholders agreeable as well before they can move on.
Yep.
And if the telcos are affected, it will affect our returns for EPF and all sorts of funds, including the pension funds and all that. Yeah.
And not to mention our investment into the future. Like 5G is a big thing.
Yep.
So that's one. So let's debunk this myth. Number one, telcos are not on board. They are nowhere near getting on board.
Yeah.
They didn't sign any access agreement.
Yep. The IR is not signed. And also, why would they sign now when the issues that raised earlier were not solved?
Yep.
Because DNB pledged, Ministry of Finance pledged, they're going to be fully transparent. So they're going to publish the RIO on the website. Until today, it still have the same draft that's dated 31st March. So the price, 30,000 ringgit per gigabits per month 30,000 ringgit per gigabits per month is still there.
For 10 years.
For 10 years. That's something that telcos don't want to sign.
Yeah. I mean, nobody would want to sign that.
And then just to recap again, like previously, right, there was, I think CGCIMB, they issued a report, right? It's estimated that each of the major telcos, we have to pay around 7 to 8 billion to DNB over the next 9 years.
Yep.
7 to 8 billion. That's the you know what? MCMC previously estimated that each telco, right, if they're going to build their own network, you're going to cost them 7.5 billion ringgit.
So as well just build your own.
Exactly. Like, if you're going to cost that much, right, what's the point of renting access when I can build on my own?
Yeah.
Where is this cost savings? How could
where's the cost recovery?
Yeah, where's cost recovery? Because you're telling me that, okay, I'm going to save on CapEx, right? But looking at the numbers, where's the savings? Why bother renting when you can buy?
Okay, so that's one. And then the other big issue is our other hero, Minister of Finance, come in and say, okay, when he said it like, I think this week, right? So it's the 19th of August, the day that we're recording this. So he said, if, okay, I'm not saying by verbatim, so he didn't say this verbatim, but okay, this is the gist of it. If you don't sign by the end of this month, August, by 31st August, you're going to lose out on 5G access because foreign operators are lining up to come into Malaysia.
Here's another thing. Why does the access, right, have to be tied to the stake? I mean, now it looks like, because we mentioned there are two things, right? Getting a stake in DNB and getting access. So all of a sudden, right, it's like he making it, okay, if you want to get access, you must take a stake now.
Yep.
Like they are forced to take a stake in a setup which they probably have no say anymore. Because likely that the government will have the veto control. And also, the contracts have been signed. They already signed the vendor, the contractors, all that, and the telcos had to come in at this late stage.
Yep. So, what do you make of this ultimatum that the Minister of Finance has put up?
Well, to me, I have very little faith. I think it's just a gimmick, because he was giving deadlines after deadline. It's been missed, it's been pushed back, and nothing happened. And he said that, he's going to open up to foreign telcos. He said that foreign investors are lining up to get into the Malaysian market.
Okay, let's peel this one by one. Number one, the deadline. Is it even possible to meet the deadline, even if the telcos wanted to?
I don't think so. Like we mentioned, 2 months.
Due diligence, not possible.
Not possible.
Yep.
How can you conclude it in such a short time? Look at Celcom DG. That's a good benchmark.
Yep.
Because at the end, essentially, you are like merger and acquisition, right? So to get a stake in DNB, it couldn't be done in 2 weeks right now.
That is moving that's made progress consistently.
Yes.
So timeline wise, sorry, Finance Minister, I don't think anybody can sign by the 31st of August.
Yes.
Number two, foreign telcos lining up to come in to Malaysia. Okay. What do you think of that?
Okay, firstly, right, when this single host network was set up, right, the main reason why they set out is because they said that 5G is a very costly affair. So the government wants to take the burden of investment away from the telcos,
Yes.
and the government will invest on the network, and everyone will just
They
rent.
want to build it for the rakyat, for
Yes.
the benefit of the rakyat. It's going to be cheap. It's going to be good. It's going to be perfect.
Yeah, it's going to be like supply driven.
Yes.
So
cost recovery. Efficiency.
Yes.
Whatever, all that BS lah.
Yeah. So okay, looking at the state of the industry right now,
Yep.
if you're going for a single wholesale network, it's a highly risky environment. As you pointed out, right? Single wholesale networks
Single
have
point of
failed.
failure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have failed.
The case study has failed. There's single point of failure.
Yep.
There's no drive to improve the service because it's a government service, basically.
Yep. And so we established that it was a high risk environment. And yet, if this is going to be a cost recovery model, why will investors want to go into a high risk cost recovery model? If you're an investor, you want to go into high risk and high returns,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Where are the high returns? Is he saying that this is a high return business?
Our Minister of Finance is smarter than us, ma.
Yeah, I think maybe he knows something we don't. But I don't. But the thing is, why would anyone want to go in a foreign entity want to come in? And another thing is, if the foreign entity comes in, right, they can't build a 5G network.
They have, yes.
Yeah, they basically MNO. So where is innovation going to take place?
Yep.
If let's say a Singaporean or China or I don't know, European telco comes in, right? All they can do is just rent access and sell to riot. This is like a salesman.
So why would they want to enter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, talking about return on investment. Number two is Minister of Finance have not tabled out the incentives for foreign telcos to come into Malaysia to invest here. There's no special incentive. So why would they want to come in? Already the disadvantages that Alex mentioned, right? So it's a network that they cannot build. There's no room for them to innovate. There is no potential to recoup cost of investment. There's no ROI. And then there's no incentives to come and set up office here.
Yep.
So what's the point? So peeling those things, I think what Tunku Zafar has mentioned is kind of kosong lah, to be honest.
That's why I look at it lah. Because he mentioned, okay, this is what is reported. He said there are many who have registered strong interest because to them there's no more capex.
Then who pays for the thing? So local telcos have to pay 7 billion each to DNB, right, to build this network. So when
to rent access.
yes,
Yep.
so when they come in, when foreign telcos come in,
They still have to pay one.
yeah.
And also,
What do you mean there's no capex?
And also nothing, right? If you're a foreign investor, right, if you come to this market, right, wait a minute, why are all the major telcos not on board?
Yep.
So that actually raised more red flags for me to come in, right?
Yes. Why
Yeah.
would I want to come in and cut line? Oh, this is going to be advantageous. It's not. The other disadvantage that I wanted to point out is if a foreign telco comes in based solely on this 5G access, that will be a 100% 5G telco.
Yep.
Who wants to subscribe to 100% 5G telco when
Okay.
the population coverage in the country, the 5G coverage in the country does not cover enough of the population to give you seamless coverage?
Yeah. And also on top of that, how many Malaysians now have access to 5G devices? Not everyone.
Yep.
Yeah. And so like,
What's the point?
what's the point? Exactly. At the end of the day, right, 5G, yes, we're talking about the future here. Right, but today, at the moment, let's say this one telco comes in from another foreign telco comes in, right, offering 5G access at let's say 10 ringgit a month. Would you want to sign up?
No, not me.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, what do you guys think? Put it in the comment section below. Would you sign up to a 100% 5G telco?
Yeah, and even if they say, okay, let's say to as a backup, they need to sign 4G agreements with the local telcos. That will going to add costs.
Yes, capex.
Yeah, capex. That's capex.
So they have to double subscribe. They have to subscribe to DMB and subscribe to
to a
some
local.
MVNO access for 4G. In fact, there is already a full 5G telco in the country. But we are not. So if you're thinking that, okay, 5G is going to be the killer app for a telco, that means if a telco has 5G, that's going to be an advantage. Just look at Yes 5G.
Yep.
I mean, they've invested heavily in 4G and 5G. They are the first telco to roll out 5G service to the public. And I think, okay, I don't want to say that they have the widest 5G network, but they have full access to the DMB network right now, and it's available for the public.
Yep, exactly. But you don't see people flocking to it.
No.
And the reason why is simple. 4G coverage. Because at the end of the day, right, regardless of 4G, 5G, you don't care. You just want to make sure you have a plan that works everywhere you go and it's affordable. Yes, 5G, right now, as we see, like it's also announced by YTL, was that this is the world's cheapest unlimited 4G and 5G plan. because you can get unlimited for like 58 ringgit. Even on prepaid, you can get unlimited 5G for 30 ringgit. But yet, nobody's jumping on board.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because when you're out of 5G coverage, the 4G coverage is very, very limited. Especially East Malaysia, wow, it's like non-existent,
no point.
man.
Yep, no point. I mean, I can't deny yes for like really trying, right? So they're really getting on board. They're really trying to move this forward. They have bent over backwards to follow what the government wanted, and to their credit, they've been able to roll out 5G first.
Yep.
I don't know why they're doing that. They might have other objectives or other reasons. As you know, yes is tied to YTL, and YTL is tied to the government. They have government projects and whatever. I don't know what's going on that side. But there are also reasons why telcos are not joining up.
Yep.
Okay, so the other thing that's been happening since we talked about 5G was Malaysia made news, and Alex wrote the news as well, that we have the fastest 5G network in the region. So the headlines said that, right? I think most of the headlines say that. But the question is, if you go behind the headlines, there is a caveat. There is an issue.
Yeah. To clarify, Malaysia has the second fastest 5G for downloads, but the fastest for uploads. And there's a reason why. Okay, number one is simple. Limited coverage.
Yep.
And number two is no customer lah. There's no major telcos on board.
Yeah, so the analogy is like if you have an empty highway
Yes.
and it's a new highway, of course you can drive fast.
Yeah, let's say got 5 lanes and
Yeah.
you're only car on the road.
Yeah,
Definitely,
for sure.
No congestion.
Yeah. So, I mean, we do look at download speeds and internet speeds as a measure of network quality. Like the higher the speeds, the more reliable. The higher the speeds, the better the network. But we also cross that data with availability in terms of coverage, and also the number of subscribers that's available. And at this point in time, it's very early to say that our 5G speeds are better than anybody.
And not just that, just to add on that, because like you said, like 5G speeds, right, doesn't equate to better experience. And based on OpenSignal's latest report, they find that in terms of video experience, because they also have a metric for video experience, right, among the 11 cities in APAC, right, KL turns out the last. So we have the second fastest download speed, but yet we have the worst video experience speed. And at the same time, in terms of gaming, I think we are like number 4 only, despite the high speed. So it doesn't mean that you have high speed, you have the most optimal experience, because there's a lot of optimization, there's a lot of things to be done behind the scenes. Whether you connected to the CDN service or not to get an optimal experience.
Yeah. So there's no point looking at that number right now because the network is not fully utilized. It's not fully loaded, it's not fully load tested, and there's only one operator that's running on it, and that operator has like very little customers.
Yep. I won't be surprised if they only have like, okay, if we are stretched, if they have like 500 or 600,000 5G subscribers.
Wow, I thought you wanted to say 500 or 600 5G customers, not 1,000.
5G customers.
Not 1,000. That's I think
500,000.
That's a lot, man.
I think that's the stretch lah. Yeah, if they convert all to 5G devices.
Yeah. So now, we started the show to say, okay, what's been going on in the 5G arena? The new government is already, 1 year old?
Under Ismail Sabri?
Yes.
I think so. Probably about there.
So, we have made, again, I would say we have made zero progress in terms of 5G.
Yep.
Zero.
Exactly.
Despite the network rollout and whatever, we've made zero progress. We are where we started. Government is saying this, and telcos are saying, nope, we're not in. The government has been trying to like arm twist the telcos to come in, but I think whatever that's been said in the public space is just purely perception and conversation creation. There's really no solid anything going on in the background.
Yeah, and also another thing I want to add on is that, okay, for DNB, right, they're a single hosting network. They're more like a distributor, right, behind the scenes.
Yep.
But they're running tons of ads online, also on billboards and outdoor, all that.
Yep.
So in a way, these ads, right, seems to be adding pressure to telcos. They say, oh, 5G is already available. Please ask your telco. Like, why do you need to come up with ads to build public perception when you are behind the scenes?
Yep.
As long as you support the telcos, get them to roll out, agree to the terms.
Yep.
Meet in the sweet spot to okay, you know what, this is what you want, okay, let's meet in the ground, make it happen, then you don't need to advertise, because at the end of the day, people won't complain to DNB if the network sucks. They complain to the telcos.
Yep.
And also going back to the concern, I want to go back to the 31st of August. So going back to this again, the finance minister has thrown the latest ultimatum is 31st of August on National Day. It's finally to sign. But here's the thing, among the concerns from the telcos is the regulation on a single wholesale network.
Yep.
As we mentioned previously, there's no mandatory standard for quality of service for 5G.
Yep.
We covered that before. I think the last update was like 2 years ago, and the speeds was like 2.5 megabits or something like that. It's very low. It's not ready for 5G. Like DNB says that they're going to provide minimum 100 megabits per second, but there's no regulation to regulate that. If let's say your network delivers worse than that, that's just going to happen to them.
Yep.
And then second thing is the pricing, because we mentioned before that 30,000 ringgit per gigabits per month is way too expensive.
For 10 years.
For 10 years some more. And the one way to regulate that is through a mandatory standard or access pricing. And guess what? In fact, MCMC is currently reviewing the mandatory standard access. It's actually issued in June. So that's still ongoing. And I think probably this might be finalized sometime in October or November. I'm just guessing. So why not wait for that?
Yep.
Because that's one of the big major concerns of the telcos, right? Like, the access price is too high. So once you have this mandatory standard access, which I think should be cheaper than what DNB is offering, then I think most telcos will probably comply.
And my biggest question is, why is the finance minister involved in all this?
Because it's state-run and currently, as we speak right now, it's still 100% owned by the Ministry of Finance, DNB.
And then the other thing is, why are they, like you said, right? Why are they pushing this through? So why do they want to push this through quickly?
I feel it has to do something to do with the election coming up soon. They want to seal this before there's any potential change in administration, which might affect the future of this single wholesale network. That's my take.
So it's all for the money lah.
I would just one way to look at it.
And you're saying that they have to pay upfront, right?
That I'm not too sure, but I know that that's something that I think is not clearly defined. Like, what's the upfront investment? Is there a minimum investment required for each telco? And is that minimum investment same across all telcos? Like, for example, if DNB asks for, Maxis Celcom DG, you must pay like, I don't know, maybe 200 million upfront. Will the smaller telcos have the same commitment as well?
Yeah.
That's something that's not clear.
Yeah. So, what we set out to clarify is, number one, whatever the government is saying is, can I say that it's not true? It's not true.
It's not true because, way from the start,
Yeah.
even when Tengku Zafrul announced why we need single wholesale, he claimed that the reason why we had to do a single wholesale is because the telcos are not working together and the consortium approach failed. He said that in Parliament because we know that when the previous government announced that we're going to deploy 5G through a private-led consortium, that was in I think January.
Yep.
The government changed in February, so it didn't have the time to took off. There's no chance at all.
And sorry, I know for a fact that the telcos with the consortium model was making a lot of progress.
Yeah,
they were making a lot of progress,
and there's a lot of collaboration,
Yes.
which actually is counter to what the minister said. Because the telco said, you know what? Since we're going to be in this together, they announced collaboration for fiber backhaul.
Yes.
They announced collaboration to do sharing of towers. They've done all that already.
They were already moving forward. They had the case study when the government announced that they wanted to show the I forgot what's the official name, but it's like a sample 5G network. I think a lot of the operators were on board. They were ready to go and they made it happen.
Yeah, more control. Yeah, multi-operator core network. So multiple telcos can share one tower to save costs. So that demonstrates how the telcos will be working together to speed up the 5G deployment.
Yes, and the sad part is, thanks for reminding me, Alex, we were actually the leader at that point in time in terms of 5G deployment in the country, in the region. Now we're behind even Vietnam. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then like Singapore, newsflash, they already achieved 95% coverage of the island.
Singapore is Petaling Jaya. Don't care lah that one. I mean that's not a fair measure lah, to be honest.
Okay, the thing is they deliver ahead of schedule because they aim to achieve that by 2025, but they did it in 2022.
All right, that's
so basically, they say one thing, they deliver ahead of schedule. For us, we said one thing, we are supposed to be leading,
we
but
changed
now
the schedule.
we changed the schedule, we change, and then we still, you're still here, still not moving yet. And that's sad. Yeah, because we were one of the forerunners in the 5G race in the region, and now we haven't started off from the starting line.
Yeah,
and that's
so I don't know. Then the question is, what can we do? I guess on Surgeon Chow's side, we can continue to report what is fact, what is based on fact, and continue to go behind the headline and continue to question whether what the ministers are saying is correct or not. We will also do that check and balance for telcos as well. But as you are well aware, telcos are not saying anything at the moment. So there's really not much for us to question. But if you are really interested to follow us on what's going on with regards to 5G in the country, keep it locked on to Suara Jincau. I mean, I think there's no other more comprehensive coverage of 5G in the country than on our website. I'm not saying that because we are the people running the website, but you guys can go and find information elsewhere and see what you get. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything you want to add before we end the show?
I'm just disappointed, man. That's all I can say.
Let's look at the bigger picture here. Whether we have 5G or not, life still goes on.
Yeah, life still goes on, but what's the concern is the future, because I agree 4G is still okay for now.
Yep.
But as more people use their mobile devices, as more people are connected with multiple devices,
Yep.
eventually the 4G network can only do so much.
Yeah, and for me, the 5G battle is not about consumer data consumption. It's not about that. Where I'm worried is, okay, we talk about, I make fun of Singapore, 95% coverage and whatever, right? It's not about faster viewing or better gaming or whatever. It's not about that.
Yeah,
it's about connecting everything to the internet.
Yep.
Connecting cars, traffic light, hospitals, everything to the internet.
Yeah, machine learning, IoT devices, industries and all that.
And it sounds abstract to people who are not into technology, but those things are actually the next big thing. That is the next thing that is going to unlock what technology capabilities we need for the future.
Yeah, because the way I see it is like there's three layers, right? There's the base is the infrastructure, and then top is the applications. What can you do with it?
Yep.
Because whatever we do down here will unlock a lot of new things up here. Because like for example, with 4G, we didn't know that 4G will unlock videos, social media,
yep.
and also new disruptive apps that like the Grabs, the Ubers, and all that stuff. That was made possible because we have wide 4G coverage.
Yep.
And we don't know what 5G is going to open next. It's going to be a huge potential, but it's like we build a highway first, then we can see what can.
Yeah, but I want to clarify that it's not about watching more videos or downloading faster stuff. It's not about that.
Yeah, because 5G is not about speed. It's about supporting millions of devices, increased capacity, and lower latency. Because like for example, latency right now 4G is about 10 or 20 millisecond. This can be 1 millisecond. It's much more real time.
Yeah, and 5G is supposed to work in tandem with 4G at the moment because 5G has an issue with coverage.
Yep.
And for deployment, they need to deploy more 5G towers and whatever to ensure that the coverage is there.
Yep.
So that's why you still need 4G.
Yes.
In fact, I just got back from New York, and there's a lot of 5G networks there. I didn't feel compelled to jump on 5G. I was very happy with 4G on my social media and on my WhatsApp. For the consumer, they are already at the limit of not limit lah. This is already the thing that they want on their phones. Video, social media, and that's it.
Yep.
It's not about them. It's about now connecting their electric cars to the network.
Yep.
Connecting their TVs or washing machines
Smart
to the
devices.
network. Yeah. So for me, what's important is we keep close tab on what's going on. I think what we can do is, if the government is trying to shape the perception through all this announcement and through the media reporting, we can do the same by making our voices heard on social media. Go on Twitter, whatever. Mention Mancom, mention Minister of Finance, what's going on. Pull out our report and say, hey, you need to answer all these questions. Pull out our podcast and tell them, okay, you need to come in and answer all these questions. We would be super happy if they come into our studio and have a chat with us and sit down and really tell us what is going on. So let us know. Right. I think that's pretty much it. I hope we've been able to kind of like give you like a really in-depth perspective on what's going on with 5G currently. And unfortunately, there's really not much good news to report. We're not making progress. And hopefully things will change.
Yep. For me, the biggest sign will be telcos making an announcement that yes, we have finally signed the Wi-Fi access offer, and this is when you're going to roll out 5G.
Yep.
Until today, we haven't seen that yet. So
but that's not going to happen anytime soon. Not in 2 weeks.
Yes, not in 2 weeks. Definitely not for 2 weeks.
Not even by the end of this year, I think. I'm gonna put some money down, 10 ringgit. That it's not gonna happen by the end of this year.
No.
Are you gonna say end, or are you gonna say before, or are you gonna say after?
Anything can happen, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Anything can happen.
Yeah. What if 5G is rolled out but not through single wholesale network?
5G is already rolled out.
No, I mean by the major telcos.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, but I don't think that's going to happen by the end of this year.
For me, it all depends on the election outcome. That's my take.
Yeah, that's a safe bet, lah. I mean, I can say that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Because we don't know what is going to happen. That's the outcome, right? So at the end of the day, right? Because we mentioned this earlier, right? All the telcos are ready to roll out 5G.
Yeah,
They just
yeah.
wait the spectrum.
Yes.
Yeah, they just need a spectrum. They are good to go.
So if the election outcome and we have, but I don't know who's the opposition now because it's all like a mesh.
Yeah, I also don't know who is it.
So.
So
Okay.
for me, it's very simple lah. If let's say we're still going ahead with the single wholesale network, I think it won't be anytime this year.
Yeah.
If let's say there's a change administration, it could be the government but different factions. If they say, okay, you know what, for the best interest for everyone, let's maintain the status quo in sense that every telco will get a slice or whatever of the 5G spectrum they can roll out. That can be rolled out immediately.
And that is if the election happens this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. If you're listening to us on podcast, we are available on podcast. So just look for Let's Talk About on any of your favorite podcast platforms, and we're there. Let's Talk About Soya Chin Chow. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, thanks very much for watching. If you have any comments or just suggestions, or tell us what you think about 5G in Malaysia, what we've been talking about right now. Do you believe in the government? What can telcos do, or what can Malaysians do to get 5G? Is 5G important to you? Let us know. Drop them in the comment section below. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And if you're listening to us on podcast, and if you want to also share your opinion, please drop us a voice note at
Let's talk about at soyachinchow.com.
Yep, just drop us a voice note there via email, and we would love to listen and hear from you guys. Okay, that's pretty much it. This is me, Amin.
And this is Alex.
Catch you guys later. Bye.